The New York Rangers' long stretch of bad play has unfortunately continued on now still, and I think there is a serious question that kind of needs to be maybe kind of talked about or answered, and that is whether or not the New York Rangers as an organization and, us as fans can truly, trust Chris Drury, the current general manager, to actually get us back to being a true Stanley Cup contender. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about in today's video is, whether or not I think Chris Drury is the right fit to kind of stay on this team and stay in this organization long term to actually build us back up to being that true Stanley Cup contender. Because obviously, with the way things have gone, yes, 2 of the last 3 seasons we have made the Eastern Conference Finals, but I think, like I've said in past videos, we relied way too much on Igor Shesterkin to carry us, and this team was not built, the right way around Igor to kind of help fill some of those other flaws that we definitely have, with the 5-on-5 scoring, the lack of physicality, the poor just kind of 5-on-5 play in general. And, just defensively and not being the best and having some trouble kind of moving the puck out of the defensive zone at points. So, there were even, going into last season, for example, there were still those issues that we still all knew about. They did not get fixed then. They have not gotten fixed in the past, and they have still not gotten fixed so far this season, although we have seen a couple trades made. And, so far these trades haven't really been, necessarily kind of buying moves. So it's not like our team has necessarily, gotten better on paper since making these 2 trades here, sending off Jacob Trouba over to the Ducks and obviously sending away Kaapo Kakko, which I am not the biggest fan of that trade, over to the Seattle Kraken. So in my opinion, Chris Drury has still left a lot of holes that need to be filled. And I think we're being honest here, he hasn't done the greatest job. And, like I said, a big reason on why we were able to have such great success, making 2 Eastern Conference Finals with this squad was Igor. The big part of it was Igor. He carried this team along in some big games there to get the job done and to kind of power us through those rounds. So I think when we take a look at things and really kind of judge, how good of a job Chris Drury has kind of done for this team, I don't think it's actually that great, and I don't think he deserves a ton of praise for the success that this Rangers team has had in the playoffs over the last few seasons. And, I'm not saying he's, done nothing good for this team at all. There definitely have been, some pretty good moves there. I think that Vincent Trocheck contract is definitely a great one there. Signing a guy of his caliber to that kind of a cap hit in for agency, I think is pretty wonderful. I mean, it's not like he was already on this team and then kind of, got re-signed. He was a, true unrestricted free agent, and we ended up signing him on a very team-friendly deal. So, that was a good move by him, and there have definitely been others as well. But if we're being honest here, the kind of key component of our playoff success has been Igor. And when you really kind of dive into the reasons kind of why I think we, didn't get past, the Eastern Conference Finals, those 2 appearances against Tampa and against the Panthers, a big part of that is the issues that we've had for a long time now, and that is the lack of physicality, the poor 5-on-5 play, whether it's defensively or offensively, if we're being honest here, getting outshot too much, not being good enough in our own zone to kind of get the puck out and, make a good breakout pass at points. So I think a lot of those components have been there for a while now, have still been there, are still here now, and they're the reasons kind of why we didn't make the Cup final, for example, and Chris Drury has still not fixed those issues, even after season, seeing these exact same issues. So in my opinion, I really don't think he has done a good enough job at this point to keep his current job himself. I don't think he deserves to be employed after this season by the New York Rangers. Now, obviously, he very well might end up staying on with this team, and it would not shock me at all if he did not get fired. But in my opinion, I think at this point, it is time to move on from Chris Drury. And, I don't want to be saying this. I want to be, making videos about us being a true elite team and being a cup contender and, all of these great players that we have on our team. But instead, we're here talking about who should be fired, whether it's the head coach, the general manager, what players should be traded away to kind of fix these problems, these big problems that we do have. And, it's not the best situation to be in. I mean, it's unfortunate that we're here. We've seen some great playoff runs. I mean, I think seeing 2 Eastern Conference Finals appearances in 3 seasons is pretty great. I mean, that is some very good playoff success. Most teams in the NHL would love and die to be in that kind of a spot, to have, 2 Eastern Conference Finals appearances. Those owners would love all that money that would bring in for their teams. So, obviously, we have had some good playoff success. Absolutely. But we also haven't gotten over the hump there. And the ultimate end goal, as a fan of a hockey team and, for sports franchises is to win that cup, to see your team win that cup. And unfortunately, this season, it does not look like it's going to happen, that's for sure. In the past seasons, there's been hope there, obviously, but at the end of the day, we didn't get it done. And we're in the same spot here without a cup win in quite a while now, not one in my lifetime, unfortunately. So obviously, I want to see this team be able to get over the hump there. And in my opinion, I'm not quite sure that person to be able to make this right roster, get this roster built the right way, constructed the right way. I don't think that guy is going to be Chris Drury for us, unfortunately. Now, he's obviously, a former Ranger, pretty good NHLer, obviously, has been on this or in this organization, for a very, very long time and a part of this team. But it really may be time to move on to look to get someone else in the building here who has maybe a different mindset, a different viewpoint on this kind of organization and how things are going right now and the players that we have. So I think that could be a pretty good thing to get a new face in here, a new mind in this organization to really just kind of turn things around, get something else going here because, even if we did end up, having a great season here and continuing on that great play that we kind of had at the very beginning of this season, going into playoffs there, more than likely, there were still going to be the exact same questions and the exact same issues and problems going into the playoffs there, whether it was lack of physicality or, the not good enough defensive play and the lack of 5-on-5 play, whether it's offensively or defensively, and the bad puck moving from the defense and the poor breakouts and relying on our goaltenders too much and getting outshot too much. There's a very good chance that we were not going to be able to fix even a third of those problems or half of them. So, in my opinion, Chris Drury, he's just not the guy. I don't think he's the guy. Would I like to see him, completely turn this team around here, make a couple incredible moves before the deadline here, and get us turned back around to have a great playoff run or to get us set up for next season? That'd be great and all. But I really would like to see at this point a fresh face in the building to kind of take things over and construct the roster his way and, maybe have less connections to certain, some of these certain players on this team right now and just be a little more ruthless possibly to be able to make these trades happen because at the end of the day, it is a business. And as fans, we want to see our team win a Stanley Cup. And right now, with the way things are going under this current, management, I don't think that's going to happen. And unfortunately, I do think Peter Laviolette is a good coach. I like the staff that he's kind of put around this team right now. I think the assistant coaches have, presumably done a pretty good job from what we can kind of tell. I think the coaching staff has done a fine job. I don't think they've done an amazing elite job, but their first season together with this organization as a coaching staff was last season. You make the Eastern Conference Finals there. I think Peter Laviolette, with what he had, did a pretty good job there. Obviously, we've known for a few years now that some of the star players don't necessarily show up in the biggest moment, so it's not like you can blame Laviolette for Zibanejad not letting things on fire in the playoffs. So I think the coaching staff has done pretty good there. And I kind of wonder also, what do the players think about all this there? Do they kind of, believe in Chris Drury going forward to make the right decisions for this team? And do they believe in Peter Laviolette? And I wouldn't be surprised if they do because, Laviolette is a guy who is, a truly proven winner. He has won the championship at the NHL and AHL level, and he's also made the NHL finals 2 other times, not including his cup win. So he's done it with 3 different teams, getting to the finals there. He's won 1 cup. He's got, a championship down there, Calder Cup in the AHL as well. He's got a lot of success coaching, being a head coach, also at pro hockey. So I think in general, he's a good coach. I think this coaching staff is pretty solid. And, I think we have some great pieces, but I really do think that we need to see someone else new come in the building. And you always got to think about it as well. Assuming, let's say, Chris Drury is coming back for next season, are we going to run it back with the exact same coaching staff and management? I'm not quite 100% sure on that. So let's say we ended up letting go of Peter Laviolette and his coaching staff there, and then we keep Chris Drury on. Imagine that. And that's a possibility there. I'm not saying it's going to happen or I want it to happen and I don't want it to happen there. I think that would be the wrong move. If, we're going to see Chris Drury stay, then I definitely do want to see Peter Laviolette stay. But imagine we do see, Laviolette go, and then we're just seeing, Chris Drury be able to hire his 3rd head coach there and fire his, third as well, because he let go of David Quinn. He also let go of Gerard Gallant, and he also would have, in this situation, let go of Peter Laviolette. So that'd be his third head coach that he would have let go in his timeline there, which I think that's too many. I think that's maybe starting to say something about the way this team is actually built instead of the coaches that we have brought into the building. So I think that's an interesting kind of scenario there where if that did happen, that would make no sense to me because I think Laviolette is clearly not the main issue now. Is he, a perfect head coach? No. Is he partially to blame for this kind of slump we're in? Yes. But I really, truly believe that Chris Drury is a lot more to blame for the spot that we're in with this team right now. And I would personally like to see Chris Drury let go at the end of this season. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. Also, don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on this kind of situation here with Chris Drury and the management and the coaching staff and all that kind of stuff there. Who do you think should be fired? And do you believe in Chris Drury to be the kind of long-term general manager of this team and to make the right moves, the right decisions, the right trades, the right signings to get this team back on track and to make us a true Stanley Cup contender? Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one. Let's go Rangers.